Okay. All right. Welcome to Lunch and Learn. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I've been called the career search doctor. But what I do is that I help people to leverage their current skills, find new ones, and use those skills in a way that helps them to find their next forever jobs. Now, I don't believe in forever jobs anymore. I believe that it's important for you to hire your next company as much as they hire you. And what my role is as a job search coach is to help give you those tips and tricks and tools. And I will work with you here in this kind of a format, as well as one-on-one for anybody who wants to. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get going. Please, in the chat, go ahead and put your information. That's where we're going to do some networking. So please include your information about who you are, what you do, where you're looking for your job. Because we are such a small group today, if there is anyone who wants to introduce themselves, let me see how many people we have. Okay. If you're new to this group, we're glad to have you and sorry you're here. I know that sounds strange. We're glad to have you for the support. We're happy to have you in support in any way. Sorry that you lost your job and you're looking for something new. But we're a very supportive, very informal kind of a group, and we want to welcome you. All right, perfect. So people are putting their stuff in the chat, and that's great. Anybody have a success over the last week that they want to talk about? You did, Frank? Great.
Yeah, I have an interview tomorrow. Somebody reached out to me late Friday through LinkedIn, and she found me, which is great. I always love that. And I have an interview tomorrow at noon.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. You'll have to let us know how it goes. Okay. Monica, you got your hand up as well. Welcome.
Yes, so in the past week, I've been contacted by 3 companies. So I'm in early stages for all 3. Today, depending on what you have time for, maybe we could talk about potentially timing these things out. One company is moving very fast. My preferred company is moving extremely slow. I don't want to lose anything because it's so hard right now, right? But yeah, things are looking a little bit better in the past 2 weeks. So I'm very happy that I've been continuing to push.
And that's a great point, Monica, is that people think that December is not a good time to look. It absolutely positively is.
Yeah.
Because the companies that are looking now are really very serious about the process. And that's a great thing. Now, under normal circumstances, I would tell you that all of the jobs that you're going to see posted in December are real jobs and people are anxious. Unfortunately, this year, we're also finding a number of ghost jobs, for lack of a better phrase. And a ghost job is really one that a company posts to make it look good to their stockholders that they're hiring. So you're going to see some of those. And the Better Business Bureau actually just issued an alert saying that they're noticing an increase in scam jobs in December. So you have to keep your radar up. If a job looks too good to be true, it's too good to be true. So here's one of the tricks to find out whether or not it's a real job. Go to the company's website. Check to see whether or not the job is actually posted. Check to see whether the person who is posting that job actually shows up as an employee if you look at the company page on LinkedIn. If not, right, trust your gut. But congratulations. Allie.
So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. So here is the interesting twist of things. I had an interview last Tuesday for what I call could be my dream job, chief product officer for a multi-billion-dollar company. So I had the first interview with the recruiter. It's a confidential search. And then I find out that the CEO used to work for my brother-in-law 10, 11. So, and here it's my question or dilemma, and I actually sent that to the recruiter when I sent a thank you letter. I said off the record question. So here's the question: should my brother-in-law send the CEO, is a she, send her a recommendation or an introduction of me to her or not? In one hand, I let the recruiter know because I don't want he feels that I'm going behind his back. At the same time, it's they haven't spoken in 10, 11 years. But so again, I find that twist a little bit interesting. They have look at 30 people, they talk to 10. Well, I am one of the 10, and
Okay.
they are going to bring 4 after the CEO kind of screen people and then talk with 4. And they said, the recruiter said they already have one person who has been recommended, and he's a little bit further through the process. So again, just want to share that, some thoughts. I haven't heard from the recruiter when I asked the question, should I get recommended to the CEO or not? But I thought it's an interesting to share with the.
It absolutely is. So sometimes with confidential searches, companies, the recruiters are not the best about providing information about the company itself. I'm glad this one did. So that's a really good thing. Okay. So the very first thing that I would do is that I would have your brother-in-law write you a LinkedIn recommendation.
Okay.
Okay. And have him tailor it to the kind of job you're looking at in this confidential search.
Excellent idea. I did not think of that.
Okay. That way, when the company looks at you, that will be right there. Then what I might do, I'm assuming that it's not the same last name.
Correct.
Okay. Then what I might do is after he's posted that, or after you've gotten that recommendation, turn that into a post. I got the greatest recommendation, reconnecting with old colleagues, okay, or old connections this holiday season. And I was really delighted to get this kind of a recommendation. It's wonderful, whatever it is, but highlight something there and you can turn that into a post. Made your week.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Make sure that you have connected on LinkedIn with that outside recruiter.
Yes, I am. By the way, he's internal recruiter. He's not outside recruiter.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay.
But she hired back in October. I mean, he was hired just back in October.
That's
so.
okay. But
Yeah.
as long as you are connected with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what you can do is you can send that post to the recruiter as a private message
Mhm.
and say, I understand that person X knows your CEO. If you think it would be useful to share this or to have them talk, I would love it.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent idea. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Good luck. And by the way, did I mispronounce your name?
No.
Okay, so it's Allie?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, if I ever call you by the wrong name, please let me know. It will not offend me. It will offend me more if I'm mispronouncing it and you're not telling me.
Sure. No, you
Okay.
did a job in both cases, in both recommendation and the spelling and pronouncing my name.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Anyone else have anything to share before we get going? Okay. Monica, your question about the timing, I'm going to do that very quickly. Okay.
Sure.
And then if you want to, you and I can follow up afterwards for about 5 minutes, if you'll stay on the line.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Okay. So if things always seem to happen all together, right? It's feast or famine. The problem is that when you get all of these things happening at the same time, it's hard to juggle them. And you know which one is your favorite. And that's the one you want to keep looking. What you can do, if you're comfortable, is you can reach out to the slower ones, especially that one that's your target, your dream job. And tell them, as you know, I'm actively looking. And I wanted to give you a heads up that I am in active conversations with 2 other companies in addition to yours. And tell them, here's my dilemma. You're the one I really want to work with. This position is my dream job for XYZ. This company is my dream company for XYZ. Very short. One of the other companies is moving very quickly. Can you please give me an idea of your time frame? Because you're my top choice, and I really want to make sure that this process, that I can go through this entire process with you, because this is where I really want to be. That
Yeah,
does.
I did send a very similar email.
Good.
That the other associated dilemma is that my dream company is not my dream job. My dream job is the one that's moving fast, but the location is a very not ideal location for me.
Understood.
So it's like, do I go for the dream job and just keep pushing, or do I go for the company I'd really like to be at, knowing it may not be the exact position I want? So
Understood.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And part of that depends on how soon you really need a job.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's a tough road. Yes, Tara.
Hi, just a quick question. I had applied at like two companies, and I don't want to take up all the time, but I just wanted a quick advice. 2 companies for 2 different positions that I'm a little excited about. I have not heard back from either, except for I did have an initial screening interview with one of the companies with HR that had initially reached out to me. I do see that last week, both of them had visited my LinkedIn profile. I have not received a rejection or any sort, but I'm wondering, from your perspective, is that don't read into it, or is this a good sign, bad sign?
So read into the fact that they looked at your profile, or read into it that you haven't gotten a rejection or haven't had any comments?
Both.
Okay. So when you're telling me that people are looking at your profile, now, if you've got a free account, you're not always going to know. That's absolutely true. But if you do know, and if you keep checking back on a daily basis, you will see 5 other companies that look at you. You won't see any more with a free account. But the fact that they're looking at you is a good thing. It also reinforces why you need to put your LinkedIn profile information on your resume.
Right.
Also reinforces why we need to talk more about LinkedIn profiles, because, as Frank said, somebody contacted him directly through LinkedIn for an interview. So your LinkedIn really speaks volumes. So the fact that they looked at your profile is a good thing. The fact that they haven't contacted you yet, I wouldn't read anything into that.
Okay.
A lot of people will look at the profiles, but we know that they are moving more slowly. Okay. Some companies are going to be moving really fast because this push and pull right now. Some want to move really fast to make sure that they have people in place by the 1st of the year. Others are going to say, we don't have all of our people in place right now to even do this interview process. So we're trying to make sure that we have the right people ready to interview after the 1st of the year. Hard to know.
Okay. So there's still hope.
Until you receive that rejection, absolutely there is hope.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. So in spite of the fact that Monica said one of her companies is moving very quickly, we find that the job search process itself is the hiring process is continuing to expand in terms of the length of time that it takes.
Okay. I will keep my fingers crossed then.
Keep your fingers crossed, but don't stop applying for something new.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And that brings us to our whole idea of what should you be doing for the end of the year to position yourself for success, okay, and getting yourself started and going. Mention LinkedIn LinkedIn is absolutely one of the things that you all should be working on. And it is one of the quick wins. Okay. That you can do. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen in just a second. Okay. Because I want to bring up LinkedIn. There are, as I said, there are several things that you can do to start positioning yourself for success next year. In fact, I have a list. If we don't get to them all today, here we go. I will make sure that I put them either in the private chat, as well as making sure that I turn some of them into a post. So there are a couple things that you can do that are really fast, easy wins. And we're going to concentrate on LinkedIn for the moment because I think that it's going to be an easy win for you, at least to get started. So when was the last time you uploaded a new picture? If your picture is older than 4 years, if the picture no longer looks like you look now, add a new picture. One of the things recruiters are telling us is that they don't want to see that disconnect between the face that I see on LinkedIn and the face that I actually see either on Zoom or in person. Ladies, we change our hair often. Okay. But many of us, it's not just that, okay, and that's okay. But if you've got a picture that's 5 or 6 years old, I don't look like that anymore. And I've seen some people that I've worked with who have pictures that are still almost 15 years old from when they first joined LinkedIn. Don't do that. It's easy to put a new one in. Really just looking at a headshot. It does not need to be a professional picture. It needs to be you looking professional. Doesn't need to be fully dressed up, okay, in work-related clothes. Because all I'm really going to see is head and shoulders. But when I pull your name up in a search or when I go to your profile, that is the very first thing that I see. You want to make sure that it's there and that it looks good and it looks like you. And it's a very easy thing to do. A cell phone photo will work. The one that I have up right now actually is one that I did. I did a private Zoom and took my own photo and then uploaded that. The one that I'm about to upload in a day or two, or the one if you go to the YouTube channel, that was a cell phone video or a cell phone shot. So it doesn't really matter how it works. You just need to do one that's relatively good and new. I'm going to go to one of your profiles, if I may, for a moment. Okay. Somebody willing to let me take a look at your profile real quick?
Always.
Okay, I'm going to do you, Frank. Thanks.
Thank you.
By the way, connect with one another. It's really important to do that because when you do that, not only are you expanding your reach, but the same way that Ali mentioned that one of his brother-in-laws was a connection to somebody that he's interviewing with, you don't know where that reach is going to be. And those connections are really important in that way. Okay. So I want to do a couple of things with Frank's profile. Thank you for letting me do this, by the way. Looks like you got a new banner back here.
Pseudo new. I added the owl with
Yeah,
some AI just for fun.
I like it. Okay. You notice that Frank has this little check mark next to his name. That's the verification symbol. We are finding that more and more people are using that, and I actually like it a lot. The way that you can find out whether or not somebody's been verified and the way you can do it is, I'm going to show you first on Frank's, what it looks like and how you'll know. You'll know here, but you also can click see more. And for some reason down here, it's not letting me. Oops, that's not what I want to do. There should be something that says, Widows recommend.
It used to be at the bottom.
It is, but for some reason, it's not showing up on my screen right now. But there should
Oh,
be.
but you're doing a screen share.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
cutting
that's-
up.
Okay, so it should be at the bottom of that more where it says about this profile. And when you do that, you'll see several things. One of which is you will see whether or not the profile has been verified. You'll also see when that person joined LinkedIn. You will see when they updated their photograph, not an actual date, but a time frame. All three of those things are really important. The verification says that you have uploaded some information, and I'm actually going to go to me for a moment. Okay, I've verified mine, but I want to show you how to do it. Okay, so here it is about this profile. Okay. You can see that it's been verified. Verified means that what I did was that I uploaded, and I know it sounds scary, a copy of the front and back of my, I think it's front and back, of my driver's license. And then you take a selfie as well. What they're trying to do is make sure, number one, that it is a real person and that you match that person. The verification is really easy. It will take you less than 5 minutes. What's important about it is that what it does is that it helps to demonstrate that you are a real person. The information that you've uploaded goes away after a period of time. Clear is an organization that has been used to verify identities. It is extremely reliable, and even my cybersecurity folks use it and tell me that it is an okay thing to do. On your job search year-end to-do list, if you have not already done it, verify your profile. When somebody's looking at your profile, that helps. Next thing, now you're going to need that on your cell phone. Okay. By the way, if you don't have the LinkedIn app on your phone, add it. You may not use it often, but some of the things I'm going to talk about in terms of your quick wins and quick to-dos, you're going to need that cell phone app. You'll notice that next to my name, I also have this speaker bell, whatever it is you want to call it. What that is it's a 28-second, I think that that's what it is, way of you either pronouncing your name or saying a little bit about you. You can only do this from your phone. But if you go here, you'll see where I mean. I'm editing this. I have an audio recording. They call it name pronunciation. If you're doing it on your cell phone, okay, you're editing your profile, you're editing your contact information, it will give you the option to add a name pronunciation. What you can do is you can just say your name. Hi, I'm Linda Brubaker. That's brew like a baker, however it is you want to say it. But you can also, because you have 28 seconds, you can also say a little bit about yourself and what you're looking for. It's another way of distinguishing you. And when I pull your name up in a search, or when I start going to your profile, I'm going to see that bell, and in many cases, I'm going to click just to hear what it says.
Linda,
Yes.
Just wrote you a note, but it's only 10 seconds.
Oh, is it 10 seconds
You
for
were
this?
thinking of the profile video that, yeah. So, but 10 seconds is a lot. And if I have a list of people whose name record I think works well, and I'll put them in the chat for profiles if people want samples of adding something like a tagline.
That's great. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that. And welcome. So that's an important thing to know. It's another way of making you stand out, and you can add it quickly. It's another quick, easy win. How many of you have enabled that feature? If you have, just raise your hands. Okay, Michelle, you did? Good.
No, I didn't. I
Oh, you have a
I
question.
raised my hand. I'm sorry. I raised my hand to ask a question.
Absolutely.
If you wouldn't mind just answering really quick.
Sure.
Was this the feature that LinkedIn was looking to do away with, or was it the profile video?
That's the profile video.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the name pronunciation is still there. And it's strange because in some cases, even though LinkedIn says that profile video is gone, for some reason, when I look at some profiles, the profile video is still there. I don't know how useful
Maybe
they
they're
were,
A/B testing it.
and they may be.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure, but I don't know how useful they were to begin with. If you want to, you can always add a quick little video. Again, you might just do it. Doesn't need to be more than a minute, but you can do that and then pin that as one of your posts so that it's, again, one of the first things you see, but it's your way of making you stand out. That's one of my to-dos for the next couple of weeks. For me. Okay. So verifying your profile, adding that pronunciation feature is a good thing. Updating your picture is a good thing. Okay. So who else can I take a look at real quick?
You could do mine, Linda.
So Michelle's also verified herself, and that's great. Michelle, I would add that little 10-second
Yeah,
voice. Very easy thing to do.
yeah. A lot of people don't get my last name right.
I'm sure I'm one of them. Okay. Now here's another quick, easy win for you, and on your to-do list is something absolutely you should do. You know that in this skills section, you can have 50 different skills. Many of us add them and then forget about them.
Yeah, and I've cleaned them up. I've maxed out my 50 skills. I find myself, and this is where I get a little frustrated, but I find myself in jobs that I'm looking to go after where I don't have the skill, but I do, but there's other more important ones that I want to keep. It's like, which ones do I keep? Which ones do I let go? And, do I want to really just make that change for that one job, or do I just keep it? It's like, it's like constantly a struggle.
It absolutely is. And that's a great question, actually. So here's one of the things. You can't change your LinkedIn profile just for a job because you never know when somebody's going to take a look. But if you're finding, Michelle, or any of you, that of the last 10 jobs that you're interested in, 8 of them are looking for that same skill and you don't have that on your profile, add it. Even if that means you have to take something else out. Take a look at the skills that you have in your profile. Make sure that this is not just a listing of everything you have ever done. Make sure that every skill, every keyword here is something you still want to do. If it's not, take it out. If you're running against that 50 and you're trying to figure out what's important and what's not, if it's something you don't want to be found for anymore, take it out. Now, here's the other thing that you should know. Three more things about skills. When I go to Michelle's profile, let me see if I could go back again. You'll notice that I only see 2 skills on the profile unless I click see more or see all. Make sure that the 2 that show up on that profile are the 2 that are most important in terms of what you want to be found for.
I didn't think you had control over that, Linda. You do?
You do. So again, I have to go to me because I can't do it for any of you.
I
If
thought it showed the skills from your most recent.
No, the skills from your most recent job, if you are adding that show where you have them, will show up in each job that you have.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can edit your skills. Okay, pencil is always your edit tool.
Yep.
And you have these 3 dots next to demonstrate. Reorder.
Reorder. Okay. Yep. That's on my to-do list now.
And it's a very easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Make sure that those 2 that show up on your profile are the 2 most important. Not only that, that you follow and that those first 5 or 6, okay, continue in that order that you really want them. Yes, Frank.
At some point, LinkedIn, because for a long time, this was a free text field. I'm not sure it still is on the skill sets. They were going to kind of wind those down. I mean, you would have things like Excel, Microsoft Excel, right? Or things like that. And it became just unwieldy. I had heard that LinkedIn was going to lock those down and you'd have to choose a little like the titles in the job search. Have you heard anything more on that?
I don't know that LinkedIn has actually locked it down yet, but my recommendation is that you use one of the terms that they have in their list. And the reason for that is that if, for example, with the Excel, in all likelihood, what's going to show up in the search bar in that dropdown is going to be Excel, not Microsoft Excel. Maybe both.
Yeah, I'm with you, Frank. It's messy, but I don't even know how LinkedIn would even control that because it's out there.
It
right?
is. But here's the deal. You can control it for your own skills.
Yep.
So go into all of them and double check and make sure that it shows up in that drop-down box. The reason for that is that if somebody is doing a search for those kinds of skill sets, they're going to pick from the drop-down box. They're not typing in something on their own. So you need to use LinkedIn's terms. The same way on your resume, when you're applying, you need to customize that by using the company's terms. On LinkedIn, you need to use the LinkedIn terms. So I highly recommend that if you have added any of those, or even if you haven't, that you go in and you double check to make sure that they're the right terms that LinkedIn would be using in their search bars. And those are the ones from the drop downs. Okay. To reorder the skills, hover your cursor over here on the right, drag and drop, or drop and drag. Okay. Really easy thing to do. Now, the other thing that you should know, LinkedIn made a change several months ago and allowed us to start adding where those skills came from. When that first happened, I was one of the people who said I didn't like it. And I didn't like it because I think it clutters things up. I've changed my tune. And the reason is that in LinkedIn Recruiter, if I want to, I can search for somebody who has X number of years of experience with a certain skill. The way that LinkedIn demonstrates or determines that you have that skill for that number of years is because you've demonstrated it with the job. LinkedIn's back door will go in and figure out that if you've done it over the 3 last jobs, and those 3 last jobs went for 10 years, that you have 10 years worth of experience with that skill. Not a lot of recruiters are using that yet, but if they're trying to narrow down their search, that's going to be important. So I highly recommend that you do that. If you've got it in a lot of areas, you don't need to keep repeating it each time. It's really okay. Yes,
Can
ma'am.
I just want to double check what you just said. So if you, and again, let's use Microsoft Excel just because it's easy. If you started using it in, I don't know, when did it release? 1985 or something? Started using it in 1985, you have 30 years of experience with it or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. However,
But you didn't use it in your next jobs.
no, so it will, if you used it in 80, whatever it was, and then you used it again, you used it 3 years there, and then you used it again 2002 to 12, and then you haven't used it since, it will add up 2002 to 12 plus the whatever.
OMG. Okay.
Okay, because
Wow.
you're only adding it into those jobs where you've got it.
So
Now, to
you
be
need
honest
to add
with
it
you,
for every job then.
honestly, I wouldn't go that far back. The only way that I would go that far back is if you've got a skill that you really want to be found for, Frank, that you haven't done recently, make sure you add it to something.
Horseback riding.
Okay. If it's bareback or side saddle, you're okay. All right. It makes you stand out. But the idea is that some people are starting to use that feature. I don't know many of them yet that are saying that they're looking for it on the basis of number of years, but I do want you to add some skills there. In addition, you can put 5 skills, 5 of your top skills in your about section. And that's going to be important too. Now, one more thing about skills. Okay. If you have no endorsements for that skill, LinkedIn doesn't recognize it. Okay. So go to somebody else. Okay. So Joey, may I take a look at yours real quick? You just showed up next on my screen.
Sure.
that
So you need endorsements before you put in the skill.
No. Put in the skill. I can't endorse you unless, number 1, we're first level connections. So that's number 1. So make sure that you've got the skill in your profile, that you and I are first level connections. And then here's an advantage of that private LinkedIn group. If you are connected to the people in that group, and it's an easy thing to do, say, would you please endorse me for skills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or send somebody a message because you're connected. If we are first level connections.
Okay.
Okay. It's the only way that I can endorse you. I'm looking to see whether you have any here that don't have any endorsements. Okay, so for example, Joey, reporting metrics. You told me that you've done that over 6 jobs,
Mhm.
but because there are no endorsements here, the LinkedIn algorithm doesn't pick it up.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So here's the deal. Connect with people. Send a message to your first level connections or put a message in our private group chat. Please endorse me for. If you are sending a message to your connections about endorsements, ask to endorse them first. You know, I'm spending some time over the next couple of weeks just playing on LinkedIn and doing some other things. You and I are connected, and it's been a while since we've spoken. let's do a quick little chat just to catch up. And by the way, I'd love to be able to endorse you for some things. What 5 skills would you like me to endorse you for? Give first, then ask. Okay. If you're doing it in our little private group, go ahead and ask. But again, you have to be a first level connection in order to do it. So when I mentioned reporting metrics wasn't a big one that's not showing up. Okay, for you, Joey, is that one you'd like to show up?
Yeah, I would say the top 10 of them, especially.
So what you need to do is then you need to make sure you have at least one endorsement for all of those that are your top
Yeah.
10, and that you reorder those skills so it's there. So I'm now going to quickly, that's how easy it is to endorse somebody.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, all I have to do is click on it. But again, it has to be a first level connection. So if for all of you, if we are connected, send me a quick message. Tell me what 5 things you would like me to endorse you for. And I'll do it. So that's actually on my to-do list for you for the end of the year. I want you to reevaluate the skills that you have in that skill set on LinkedIn. Make sure that all of those that are there are still the ones you really want to be doing. Make sure that you have reordered them so that at least the first 2 and then the next 8 are the ones you really most want to be found for. Then give endorsements to other people and get endorsements from other people. The other thing about endorsements is that in terms of a search, if Joey has 12 endorsements for data analysis and Mary has 6, Joey may come up higher in my search, if that's the only thing I'm searching on. So the number of endorsements do count in some ways, but not as importantly as making sure that you have at least one endorsement for everything. It's a quick, easy cleanup. My recommendation is that's something else you can add to your to-do list and then turn it into a quick to-done list. Okay. Okay. Other questions about that before I move on to another thing on your to-do list?
I have a question.
Absolutely.
So, hi, and thank you for this is really interesting. So no recruiter's ever going to go back and ask the people who endorsed you to talk about how, like, they don't see that it was Linda who did the endorsing and ask you to explain in what way you can vouch for that person on that skill.
No.
Okay, so you can literally, as long as it's someone you're connected to, they don't ever have to have even worked with you. It could be someone I know from 20 years ago, and they can say, yes, I know Donna can, they can endorse me, even though they really have no idea.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the problems that I have with this whole endorsement thing. Sorry, LinkedIn. But yes, that is an issue as far as I am concerned. However, and I'm sorry for going through the screen like this, I'm just trying to find one and I don't see one offhand. Sometimes you will be endorsed by someone who is considered to be highly skilled in that area, or someone who actually did work with you in that area. In which case, what happens is that will show up in the endorsement section. But they could say endorsed by so-and-so. Okay.
So Linda, I thought you just said you can't see who endorsed, but you can.
You can see
Who endorsed the individual. So like I look at a profile, I can see it was endorsed by so-and-so. I mean, I agree with you, the likelihood that a recruiter would actually reach out.
Honestly,
They're
nobody's
not going to do that.
they're not going to do that. But, okay, yes, you're right. They can see it if they choose to, but
Yeah.
they're really not going to choose to do that.
Yeah.
What you will find is in some cases, and I'm not seeing it on your profile, Mary, is that if you are endorsed by somebody who is also highly recognized, highly endorsed for that skill, that may show up endorsed by so-and-so or by people who are highly recognized for the skill as well. It gives it a little more credibility. It's not a big deal. Okay, I wouldn't worry about that. But yes, if I need to, I can go in and take a look to see who endorsed it, but it's not going to happen. In terms of reaching out to somebody, what may happen, and not wrong area. Is, oops. Down at the bottom of your profile, you should have some recommendations. Might I reach out to some of these people? Maybe. If we're first level connections, I might ask a question. But will I read a couple of them? Yeah, I might. Especially those first 2 or 3. So here's also on your job search to-do list for the end of the year. Get and give some recommendations. It's a very easy thing to do, but these mean more than those skill endorsements do. The skill endorsements are important for the LinkedIn algorithm. The recommendations, when I start looking at your profile, I may read a couple of those. So that's an important kind of thing. If you don't have any current recommendations on your profile, here's your to-do list. Make sure that you have at least, if you can, at least one recommendation from the past year. Okay. So, Mary, I'm really glad to see that you went from 2017 to this year. Otherwise, I was going to say you really need to do that. We need to have something more current. Would I reach out to these people? Probably not. But would I read it? Yeah, I might. If I'm really interested in you, I'm taking a look because now this makes some sense. Now I want to get more information. You notice that you can both get and give. And Mary went back and gave recommendations to the people who had recommended her as well. In order to give somebody a recommendation, wrong area. There are several different ways that you can do it. You can message somebody and ask them if they would do it. Oh, I can't. You can only give a recommendation to somebody who's a first level connection. which is why I can't do it for you, Mary. I can't even take a look to show you where it would be.
I think we are first level connections.
You have not accepted. It still says pending.
Oh, that's really weird because I try to keep up on that stuff. All right, I'll go do that right now. So
But there, yep. But there are ways that you can go in and you can ask for. Okay. Those recommendations. And it's an easy thing to do. I shouldn't say it's easy. It's a way that you can assist somebody else as well as assisting you. So again, give and get.
I
Questions?
accept.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So if you've accepted, then now I can go in and I can.
Yeah, I did accept it. I
Yeah.
just was a little.
Oops. Interesting. Can you all still hear me? There we go. Don't know what that glitch was. Aha. All right.
That's weird.
It is. Sorry about that. Joe said recommendations are good, but he prefers to network with people. And absolutely, that's a good thing. They're two different things, though, Joe. One is a static, the idea that you've got something on your profile so that anybody who wants to take a look can take a look. It's another way of adding some of that social proof, if you will, to your background, to your profile. The networking is an important aspect as well. And yes, it's important to be able, if you have it, to have somebody of those connections so that you can get some of those referrals, but you don't always get them. But that's the next to do on your list for the end of the year. Not just making new connections, and it would be wonderful if you could make 5 new connections before the end of the year, before the start of the year, but also to go back into your connection list and see whether you can warm up some of those older connections. You don't want to reach out to somebody just because they can now help you. So over the next several weeks, maybe on a continual basis, reach out and message some of your past connections. Those people that you are first level connections to. Send them a quick little message to warm them up. Gee, it's been a while. You know, I'm sending a holiday message, hoping things are going well. You know, would you like a chance to catch up? How about a 5-10 minute call conversation just to see where things are? Because not asking them for anything. But remember, networking is about connections. Connections mean conversations. Connections means that there is some sort of a relationship that you can build upon. It's not just asking for something, it's giving as well. And sometimes you don't know when that's going to happen and when that's going to be important. So reaching out to somebody and saying, you know, would you be interested in a quick little chat just to catch up and see how things are going for you and how I can help? Or, you know, it's been a while. I'd love to hear what's going on in your world. It's another quick way of warming those people up so that when you do need that connection, if you want that connection, you've got it, or that they can reach out to you because it's there. You don't know when some of those connections are going to be important. You don't know who can help you when. More importantly, you don't know who you can help as you move forward. So sending some of those connections is important. Some of those messages is important. Now, there's several ways to do it. Since they are already a connection, you can send them a message. Do not send a mass message. That defeats the purpose. You can, however, LinkedIn, please don't listen. You can draft a little message that you're going to put into a Word doc so that you can copy it and paste it as you're going. Saves you the time. You can also send them a voice message. Again, your phone comes into play. On the LinkedIn app on your phone, if you are messaging a connection, on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen when you're doing that, it will say, you'll see a little microphone. You click that and you can send a voice message to that person. You get the opportunity to re-record it if you don't like it. You become more of an individual and it sounds much more intentional if you're sending that voice message. Your voice message is going to be less than 60 seconds. But it really works. It, again, makes you stand out from the crowd. Even if your voice message is just wanted to wish you a happy new year, hope things are going well, love to catch up when you get a chance. You don't even need to do that. Just a little something. The same way that we mentioned the idea of doing some of those voice messaging as a follow-up thank you note after an interview or after a connection conversation. Voice messages really work. They're incredibly easy to do, but you can only do it from your phone. So on your to-do list, in addition to trying to make 5 new connections, see whether you can send one person a voicemail, a voice message on LinkedIn. Just try it. I'm welcome to be your guinea pig if you want to try that, and I'm happy to give you feedback. Okay. Now you can send a voice message to a group. So if you wanted to send a voice message to everybody that you're connected to through Lunch and Learn, as an example, you could do that. But you can also do it just individual. I think they make a lot more sense. So that's another thing on your to-do list. So you're building your connections. You are warming up those connections. Somebody asked about social Saturdays, just as a way of building your network. I'll be honest with you. Personally, a lot of people love them. I'm not a fan. To me, it's not as much of a numbers game in the sense of making sure that you've got all of these connections. Connections really should be, it's not just contacts. It should be real conversations. It should be someone that you've got a reason to connect with. So I want there to be a reason that you want to connect with me, or that I want to connect with you. Now, unfortunately, LinkedIn is making that tougher. I'm still a person who does not have a paid account on LinkedIn. And I don't know how many of you also have the free accounts versus the paid. LinkedIn is trying to push everybody to a paid account. The cheapest paid account right now is $39 a month. That's a lot of money for many of us. Besides that, it's philosophically something that I have an issue with at the moment. But if you do not have a paid account, if you have a free account, LinkedIn is making it tougher for you to make those connection requests. So in that case, a social Saturday might work for you, Joe, because all you have to do is hit connect. In this group, because you've already put all of your URLs in that chat, you don't need to waste a message to do it. Okay? Because the rest of us will have seen your name and know that that's what you're doing. If you have a free account, you are limited, and LinkedIn is not very transparent about it yet. Some people have one free connection request message a month. Some will have 15. Some it's going to be someplace in between. Yeah, I know. We're still fighting that issue, but LinkedIn is pushing against it. They're trying to get people converted to the paid accounts. So there are several ways, and I put it in the chat, some ways of getting around that message limit. One is meetings like this. Because you've got your URLs in the chat and everybody else that's seen them, seen you, you don't need the message necessarily, you can just do it. If we are all in the same group, Lunch and Learn, for example, you can message other people in that group individually as well as together and say, I'd like to connect. Okay, would you be open to that? When they respond saying yes, all you have to do at that point is send them a request. You don't need the message. Yes, Frank.
Just to double check. So if I understand, you can reach out to connect without a message as many times as you want, but with a message only 5 times with a free account.
At least at the moment.
They
And-
have, I mean, I don't know how many fake accounts have right now in my inbox. So I look at them. I like to save them because I like to write about them, but that's crazy.
It is crazy. And so one of the problems is that LinkedIn has also made it a little more difficult for you to message people who are not your connections or to message people who are paid members. In fact, I have a post about that going out sometime this week. If you have a paid membership, then what I want you to do is make it easier for people to reach out to you and make your messaging option open. You have to go into your settings and privacy, and I will post that in the chat as well, in the private group. But there is a way that you can make your messaging open to anyone, regardless of whether or not they have a direct connection or whether or not they are a LinkedIn premium member. The default is that if you have a premium membership, the only people who can message you are either first level connections or people who also have a premium membership. But if we are part of a group, you can message somebody directly through the group. Or you can do a post on a group post without wasting your connection messages. What do I think about having more than one LinkedIn account? What would be the reason, Joe? I see no reason to have more than one LinkedIn account. In fact, I think it may work against you. Unless you also have a business, there's no reason to have more than one account. And even if you have a business, then you have a company page, okay, and your personal page. But otherwise, it gets very confusing, both for you and for other people. Okay. Another couple of quick things that I want to add in terms of your to-do list. Okay. So we talked about skills. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. We talked about verifying your profile, updating your picture, getting those endorsements, getting and giving recommendations as well as endorsements, warming up your connections, sending at least one voicemail to someone just to get in the habit of trying to think about it and do it. Okay. Okay. We're going to run a little bit over. We are already, but that's okay. Because this one is really important. We talked about the fact that you want to get and give those endorsements. We talked about the fact that you want to start warming up those connections and how important those connections, those contacts can be. Many people talk about having target companies. If you have a target company, I want you to make sure that you go onto that company page on LinkedIn and follow them. On many company pages, once you have said you're going to follow them, there's also a way that you can then tell them that you are interested in jobs in that company. And I apologize, my internet connection is a little off right now, so I can't show you that page, but next week I will try and do that. If you say that you're open, then recruiters know to keep an eye out for you. And if they've checked your profile, then they will contact you more likely if you've already said that you're interested in jobs in their company. Once you've also started following that company, then if you see a relevant post that matches what you want to do, make a good comment. And a good comment doesn't mean, hey, that's great. You're moving the conversation forward. You're making yourself that professional, that expert in that area. That's another way of you increasing your visibility. Following that company also means that it's more likely that you will start to see posts from that company. And when you do get that interview, now you've got a ready source of information so that you can do some quick little company research. So another to-do list, pick 5 or 10 companies that you're really interested in, follow them on LinkedIn so that you start seeing what's going on there. And then the last thing in terms of your to-do list that I'm going to give you right now, make sure that you've worked on your resume as well as your LinkedIn profile so that you're all set and ready to go as the new year starts and continues. If you haven't done so already, remember, I'm putting all of the chat in there in the private group. If you haven't requested the private group, make sure you do. While the videos will be available on YouTube, the comments are not. Oops. And the added chat that we have in that group is not available to anybody else. The only people who have access to that private group and that private information would be people who have registered for this program, for these Lunch and Learns. Now, the Lunch and Learns are always free. Please spread the word. They're going to continue. The formatting may change a little bit, but I'm really welcome and I'm looking for your ideas about other topics, things you want to talk about. If you are looking for some one-on-one assistance with any of your job search materials, reach out. I put my link in the chat, and I'm happy to help you with that as well. Any questions? Yes, Bo.
Just a couple of thoughts to try and help everybody. There are still holiday parties that are going on right now, chambers of commerce, as well as other kinds of parties, work parties. Take advantage of those networking opportunities because they're out there. And I've said it before to some of you, but I got a job on December 22nd a few years ago. So do not give up right now and don't, think that, because the great thing is so many people are slacking off in their search and you can be the one.
Absolutely right. I don't know, Frank. You might be able to crash a holiday party. But it's not just, you might be able to do one at a local chamber of commerce or local businesses that are in the area. It doesn't have to be that, where you don't need to be a member in order to go in. Volunteer opportunities this time of year or elsewhere are good. You never know where that next connection can come from, where that next resource can come from. So don't be shy about doing that. Okay. And it's a great time to continue to meet other people. Yes, Bo?
I'll give you an example right now. Okay. I live in Geneva, Illinois. The Geneva Chamber has a group called Geneva Women in Business. They have a holiday party that's coming up in a few days, and it's open to non-members. So you don't have to be a chamber member for some of these things.
If you check in some of your local Facebook groups, you might find some happenings there of things that might be going on. Don't think about this as an opportunity just to network. Think about it as a way of making connections and maybe even having some fun, right? That's the idea. The connections will grow organically from some of these meetings. But absolutely great suggestion, Bo.
Guys, don't get the impression that we're not welcome at these things. They really do want us. And so you're going to stand out. If you happen to go to any of these women's things, they appreciate it. So FYI, don't be scared.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Anything else I can help you all with for today? If we have not yet connected, please do connect with me. I'm around. I'm not taking vacation this year. Okay, so, or at least not going anywhere. So go ahead and reach out at any time. In the meantime, have a great week. I'm going to stop the recording. By the way, if you can't see the recordings in that private group, let me know.